Yo guys, welcome back to PaladinProse. I'm Pally,
And I'm Snap.
and this is my collection of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. And this is my collection of 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons. And I don't actually have any 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons. And this is my collection of 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons. My personal favorite edition of the game. Like I'm sure is the case for a lot of you guys, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons was the first tabletop role-playing game that I personally ever played. And for a long time, it was my favorite game of all time. I thought 5th edition D&D was like peak gaming, period. But as you can see here, as the years went on, I started to get more and more interested in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and 2nd edition, the real OG shit. But even more recently, I've started to get really frustrated, overwhelmed in a sense with all of the rules and all of the choices and the decades of precedent that have been set in these books. When you're playing a game of 5th edition, sometimes combat can turn into a slog. You have to stop and look up rules and debate how this works or that works. Everybody has problems with 5th edition action economy, and ultimately, I've gotten kind of sick of it. And I have a feeling that if you guys are already in this kind of weird corner of the D&D YouTube space, you might be feeling a bit bogged down or shackled by 5th edition or Pathfinder 2e or whatever D&D game that you're playing. And I'm here to tell you, you can break out of these shackles. You can bust out of the cage of 5th edition or Pathfinder 2 or whatever edition, whatever books that you're playing with, and create your own system with your own table that's unique to you guys. I know, it sounds overwhelming, but just like getting started as a dungeon master or a game master or homebrewing your own D&D world, it's actually a lot simpler than you might think. I want to show you guys how I did it with my personal group in 3 easy steps. But first, I gotta put these things back. AD&D player manuals, by the way, chef's kiss stuff. I'd really like to try this campaign sometime. Snot, a little help here, man?
Oh, come on, Pally. You know strength is my dump stat.
Alright, whatever, man. And there we go. Okay. So you're sick of 5th edition or whatever rule set or books that you're using, but you don't know where to start. Step 1 is to, I know, talk to your players. And it's funny, guys, a lot of the time D&D can feel like therapy. I mean, I know that you know what I'm talking about here. And if you're feeling frustrated with the way that you're playing, if you're feeling bogged down by rules, or you're just slamming your head against the wall of raw, then bring it up. Ask your players to have a sort of session 0.5 where you guys can all come together in a chill environment and talk about what you want out of your role-playing game moving forward. That's what I did with my group when I realized that I was getting tired of the restrictions of these systems, and it worked out really well. What I did, and what I would suggest you to do, is come up with a list of discussion points just to get the conversation flowing. Some options could be, what's your favorite part about D&D in general? What's your least favorite part about D&D in general? And by the way, when we say D&D, what we mean is fantasy tabletop role-playing games where you roll dice and try to beat a target number, right? It doesn't have to be WotC or TSR or Paizo Dungeons and Dragons. Next, look at combat. Usually the most contentious part of any system. What do you like best about combat? What do you like the least about combat? Some people really like building optimized characters and crunch and a ton of options. And there's a lot of people on the other spectrum that feel like the less options you have, the more freedom you have to be creative at the table. So talk to your players about it. Figure out what your players and yourself as the DM or GM really wants to embrace at your table. And finally, this plays into the combat discussion points. I would highly suggest being very open and talking to your players about how emotionally attached they are to their characters versus the entire game world, and also how they want to approach character building moving forward. The reason why this is important is because players are a lot more attached to their character. In earlier editions of Dungeons and Dragons, death was almost inevitable. It was like a part of the game, and I'm talking way more than it is in later editions. And because of that, there was this pre-understanding that you were really playing the world more than you were playing one specific character. That can be a really rad way of playing D&D, but if your players are anything like my players, they're probably really attached to their character. They don't want to just die to some random trap or failed save. So it's important to talk that part out, because at the end of the day, you want everyone to have fun. And again, as far as character creation goes, you really just want to figure out where the fun lies for your party. There is no right or wrong answer here. It's really all about talking to your players and figuring out what works best for you guys. Okay? Are you following me, Snot?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons sucks and Pathfinder is way better.
Whoa. No. We're not here to trash on any system or yuck anybody's yum, okay? We're not about that here at PaladinProse. We're just trying to have more fun.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Good. Awkward transition time. Yo, dude, it's me, your boy. Long story short, obviously I'm sitting here editing, and it turns out that this video got way too long and I wasn't super happy with it. So I broke it up into 2 parts. The part that you just watched just now, I thought that was pretty good. And then the second part I am going to refilm and upload next week. So yeah, you know, that happens sometimes. And hey, as creators, you gotta look at your work, and if you're not happy with it, fix it. So that's what I'm doing. The response so far has been great. It warms my heart seeing all your guys' comments. Gets me super stoked. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. Smite that like and subscribe button. Tell your friends how dope this growing community is. And I'll see you next week. All right? Cool. Bye.